With the Mets struggles, there has been a group of Mets fans advocating for trading Pete Alonso. What are my thoughts on it? Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch these videos. If you're brand new, welcome aboard. Please like and subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. I definitely appreciate your time and support. So let's talk a little bit of New York Mets baseball today, and specifically Pete Alonso, maybe the most prolific slugger the Mets have had since the days of Mike Piazza, Darryl Strawberry. In fact, he is well on pace to shattering the Mets' home run record if he continues at the pace that he's on. And he has more home runs than anyone in baseball since 2019 with 172. That's more than Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout, you name the guy. This has probably been 2023 as disappointing a season as he's ever had. I don't think there's any question that it is. You know, and you could pretty much say the same about this franchise as well. This may go down 2023 as the most disappointing season that the New York Mets have ever had, and that is saying a lot. That is saying a lot when you're talking about a franchise that has had glimpses of greatness, but let's be honest, a whole lot of ineptitude over the past 60 plus years. So Pete was on his way to having a really good season, especially in terms of the power numbers. We're going to get into those. But he gets plunked on the hand on purpose by Charlie Morton of just the lovely Atlanta Braves. Okay, he goes on the injured list, comes back after 2 weeks, which surprised a lot of people. You know, the diagnosis at the time was Alonso was going to miss about a month. Well, let's look at some of the numbers that Pete has had this year, focusing in particular on before the injury and after the injury. All right, let's take this ride together. So up until June 7th, Alonso played 62 games. He hit 22 home runs, essentially one home run every 3 games. That would have put him on pace for home runs around in the early to mid 50s, excuse me. Since he came back, he's played 26 games. I'm not counting the shortened game against Boston, which will resume on Saturday. But in the 26 games since, he has only 4. So he's gone from 1 home run every 3 games to 1 home run every 6.5 games. Okay, his slugging percentage up until June 7th was .546. It's now down to .472. So clearly the power has not been there ever since he got hit, and we saw it at the home run derby when he never quite looked right. A lot of that may have had to do with the pitcher, but to me, he just never found the groove, and he has not really been comfortable over the last 6 weeks, and we know how bad it was for the Mets in June. And you know, Alonso's performance has a lot to do with it. We could talk about the bullpen. We could talk about the starting pitching. We could talk about certain position players. We could get on Daniel Vogelbach all we want, and understandably so. But at the end of the day, what are you really expecting Daniel Vogelbach to do? Not a whole heck of a lot. But I do have very high expectations for guys like Pete Alonso. And since he's been hit, it has not worked out. Now, I want to spend a minute here on the batting average. Okay? This is a guy in 3 full seasons. I'm leaving out the COVID year. That was like 50 games. That's an anomaly. Let's leave that aside. He hit 260, 262. Last year, he hit 271. Now he's hitting 204 right now. This is not the Pete Alonso we've come to know as baseball fans and as Mets fans. Okay? He was hitting 257 through April, which was right around, pretty good, for him, not bad. Then he had a rough May. He went down to 231 up until June 7th, but he was still continuing to hit home runs. Okay? So then everything has sunk, his average and his power. But I'm hearing these comparisons. I'm seeing them online. I'm hearing them on the radio. I see these comparisons to Dave Kingman, the old slugger from the 70s and the 80s. You know, Dave Kingman had a lifetime .236 average. He had 8 straight years of an on-base percentage under 300. Okay, that is not what Pete Alonso is, and I really think that this season is the outlier. I think he came back too soon from his injury. I wished he had taken another 2 weeks or so to really heal up, because he hasn't been the same, and it's hurting this team. Okay, now the defense. A lot of people are talking about making Alonso a full-time DH. The defense is what it is, but he's become better and better at making plays. He dives well for the ball. Most of his throws are very good. He still makes some errors. Okay, he's got a .992 fielding percentage, which is 18th among qualified first basemen. So he's pretty much an average defensive first baseman. He's not terrible, but by no means is his defense a liability that is costing this team game after game. Now, the game against the White Sox, he made a terrible error on Thursday. Drew Smith, we know what he is. He wasn't able to overcome it, and the floodgates absolutely opened up. But I don't think this is a situation where Alonso has to be taken off first base. Who are you going to put there? Do you want to see Mark Canha play first base every day? Do you want to see Vogelback play every day? And I'm sorry, Mark Vientos, to me, that is a DH. I've seen Mark Vientos play infield, in person, and on TV. The guy is not a good fielder. I trust Alonso at first base much more than I do Mark Vientos. But time will prove whether we're right or whether we're wrong. Now, here's the other thing with the trade. Why would you ever trade Pete Alonso now, when his value would probably be at the lowest? When he's slumping right now, it's just like the stock. Buy low, sell high. It's bad business. It would show panic from the Mets organization, and it would signal you're rebuilding, not just retooling. And Steve Cohen's not going to allow that. With all the money that he spent, he can talk all he wants, Steve Cohen can, about rebuilding the farm system of the New York Mets, and I'm glad he's saying that because you know what? It's important. But he's not about to go through multiple years where nobody goes to Citi Field and they have like maybe a $100 million payroll because they don't have legitimate major league talent because they've traded all their talent off to get these 20-year-old kids who could take years to develop. Steve Cohen is not going to do that. And Pete Alonso is going to be a cornerstone of this franchise for at least 5-6 more years, in my opinion. And here's the other thing. If the Mets were to trade Pete Alonso, is there a single Mets fan out there who thinks Billy Epler is the right general manager to make that trade? He couldn't get good value for J.D. Davis, for the love of God. He couldn't get value for Colin Holderman, for the love of God. So please, I don't want to hear about the idea of Billy Epler making a trade where Pete Alonso goes somewhere else and it comes back to bite this team for the next 5 years. It would be almost as bad as Tom Seaver. It would be that ridiculous because you're trading your franchise. I'm not suggesting Pete Alonso is as great a player as Tom Seaver, but in terms of what he can mean to this team, again, he can be the best offensive player in the history of the Mets. I don't want to hear about David Wright. Darryl Strawberry wasn't here long enough. Pete Alonso has it in him to be the best hitter in Mets history. And I mean it. And I have no interest in trading him whatsoever. And then how do you replace him? Are you willing to take the chance that Shohei Ohtani is actually going to come 3,000 miles east next season? Because I think he's staying on the West Coast myself. Whether it's with the Angels, going to the Dodgers, even the Mariners. Ohtani wants to be comfortable. I don't think Ohtani is a player who's all about the money. Okay, so I don't think Ohtani's coming here. What are you going to do? Sign Rhys Hoskins coming off a torn ACL? You going to do that? You want to give a still aging J.D. Martinez a one-year deal? Hey, maybe Michael Conforto will opt out of his deal with the Giants. The options are just not realistic. You cannot replace 40 to 45 to 50 home runs a season. These guys just don't grow on trees, okay? As far as the contract goes, I'll finish with this. He's making $14.5 million this year. In 2024, Alonso has one more year of arbitration. Then after 2024 is when he becomes a free agent. He'll be 29 years old. To me, I would give him a contract of 5 years, $150 million, $30 million a year, following the 2024 season, become effective following 2024. That takes him to around 34, 35 years old. And as far as the average annual value, $30 million has you in the range of a Manny Machado, a Rafael Devers, Mookie Betts, a little bit more than Trey Turner or Bryce Harper or Freddie Freeman, and it puts him right around the top 10 of the highest paid position players in Major League Baseball. I think it's completely fair. I think it's a completely reasonable contract, but those are my thoughts. Now I want to see your thoughts. Put them down there in the comments. Do you believe the Mets should explore a trade for Pete Alonso? Or do you want them to sign him to an extension this offseason? And for how long would you want that contract to be? Well, hey, everybody, thanks for watching. Just remember, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m., Wednesday Night Live with WA2K99, we might talk Mets, Jets, Rangers, Giants, Jets, Knicks. I don't think we'll be talking soccer or WNBA anytime soon, but if it's going on and it moves me, if it's something that I want to talk about, we're going to talk about it. Hey, come join the live chat. We have a great time, and we do trivia at the end of every show, so I really look forward to seeing everybody every Wednesday night. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.